Hey, my name is Chad. This video we're going to talk about the Central Region PRS Finale match. It was quite an event. Pretty much I got a bunch of experience out of it. Hopefully some of it will turn into good experience in the long run. And a story that I'm going to share with you guys. So, got my notes, got everything written down. Let me just start this out. So, somehow or other I managed to qualify to sign up for the finale match, and I think you have to do 2 or 3 matches and score a certain number of points at those matches at the regional qualifiers. I went to a few this year trying to get into more matches and to shoot with more people in different locations. Somehow or another I managed to get it. I thought initially it was only going to be 65 people, and I come to find out it's actually 120 people that are signed up for this thing. So as it's getting closer and I realize the quantity of people, I'm getting very nervous about this. The total course of fire was going to be 104 rounds, so biggest round count match that I have ever done, along with the most people that I have ever been in a match with. So it's getting closer. I got all my ammo loaded up. Also, it falls on the 3rd weekend of the month, so our local match is here close by on Sunday, the day after, and I had to load up ammo for that as well. So I got 200 rounds all loaded. I'm good to go ammo-wise, I thought. I went out the Sunday before and fired off a couple last shots, got some speeds, and just made sure everything was going to be good after resetting my zero a little bit. And I was getting hits all the way out to 1,050, and I was just doing pretty good. So I was fairly confident that at least things were going to work rifle-wise, and it would just come down to me. My plan was, since back in July I went to this match and I left super early, like 3:34 in the morning, drove all the way down there and got there right about 8 o'clock when the match was starting, and like pulled up, went to the match brief and listened to that, then pulled my rifle out, got down. It was hectic, but I was thinking in my mind that the drive plus match plus drive back was just a little too much, and maybe that's why I didn't do so good the first time I was down there. So this time I had the idea to drive down. It's right outside of Weatherford, Texas, fairly big town, and just a little bit west of Fort Worth, Dallas area. So I found a truck stop, you know, big nice truck stops that have showers and amenities like that. I figured I'll just drive down, park there, sleep for a couple hours, go inside, take a shower, and I'll only be 30 miles away. And I'll get there super easy and early in the morning and have a little fresher. Instead of being awake since 2 in the morning, I'll have been awake since 5 or so. Mostly worked out. I didn't leave the house till like after 10 o'clock Friday night. So I got down there a little after 2 o'clock, I believe, or right before 2 o'clock. And made sure they were cool with me sleeping in the parking lot. And I just crashed out for, my goal was 2 hours, and I maybe got an hour and 15 to an hour and a half worth of actual sleep. I just kept waking up every couple of minutes. A Toyota Tacoma is not really the best, most comfortable thing for sleeping. So that didn't go so well, but I got up, got in, took a shower. I should have known the day was going to be weird when I pay for the shower and they give me the code. I go get in and code shows that it works, but the door handle doesn't open. So try. Finally went and got one of the guys that was working there. He tried it, couldn't get it to work. He finally found somebody else there, and she knew the trick to the door. Apparently you have to hit the code in and then pull the handle, yank on the door, and then push it in. So of course nobody tells you that, but that was the trick. So if you got one of those door codes, try punching it in and then pulling on the door handle, and that'll release the lock mechanism, and then push it open and you're good to go. So finally got over that, got in, showered, got myself put together, and started driving towards the match. Now it's still dark. At this point I've not got much sleep, so I'm more tired than I wanted to be, and I'm driving. I know it's only 20-ish miles down the highway. After a little while I started feeling like, man, this is taking a little bit too long. And I opened my Maps app, and when I had got pulled out from the truck stop, I went in there and just deleted the truck stop address. The wind is really kicking. I hope my camera stays put, but I deleted the truck stop address, and it started rerouting me and everything, and hit start. and for some reason, I guess it decided that I didn't need to stay on there. Like, it guided me onto the freeway, and then apparently it stopped sometime there. So by the time I looked at it, I was like 20 miles past the turnoff I needed to go to, so my 30-minute drive turned into about an hour drive to get there. So anyways, get turned around, get back, and finally made it to the location. I was going through the back bouncy rough roads that are outside this gravel quarry or rock quarry, something or other, and I heard a buzzing behind me. My electronic air pump had somehow something pressed on it while I was bouncing around on those, and hit the power button long enough for it to power on, and then hit it again in the right way to turn it on. So I got an air compressor behind me. I finally dig around and got my hand reached back there and got it reached out and turned off, and I was about 2 miles away. So went ahead and got in, signed in, and there were just people everywhere here. It was quite insane. I decided, since I actually did get there early enough, and the whole intention of getting there early was so that I could double check my speeds and make sure things were going to be still where I expected them. So loaded up a couple rounds, went over to the firing line, and everybody was, getting on benches and being good and stable. So there was a metal tank trap sitting there on the side of all the benches. So I just plopped my bag down and got on it. I was like, well, I know my zero's good, I thought. I just need to check speed. So I just aimed at a couple rocks down at the far end into the berm, and boop, I was hitting them, so I was good. Now I did notice my speeds, instead of being around 2990 like I expected, was right about 3011. So I had a 20 feet per second increase. That kind of got me worried, but I just went ahead. I was like, well, maybe it's we're more in the hill country, higher altitude. Maybe it's just the air density's lower, so my bullets are speeding a little faster. So I just updated my Kestrel, tried to put that out of my mind because I don't like when the numbers don't do what I expect, and went through the match brief and got split into our groups and went to our first stage, tire stage, and my number comes up and I go shoot the stage and just did terrible. And the wind is really kicking today, so I'm going to try and get through this. So the first stage that I did, there ended up being 10 total stages. Most of them were 10 rounders, and we had 2 12-round stages, so a total of 104 maximum shots to be fired for the day. So I was in group number 5, and we started on stage number 3. This one was a tractor tire setup, and you have to run a rack big to small, and 5 targets, run them down biggest to smallest, and then move positions and do biggest to smallest again. So 10 shots, 1 on each target from each of the 2 positions. It's at 828 yards. So I got up, went down. Things were moving fast, so I never set up this camera. I just wasn't confident I could get everything set up and do what I needed to do and still focus on trying to do well. I ended up only getting 2 hits on that one. I think it was on the middle-sized targets. I did run my trigger cam on this one, so I'll have some footage here, but I couldn't really tell. I think I was low, but I thought I was high. So I thought I was high. I was coming down to aiming at the bottom of the target, and I should have been aiming up at the top of the target. Once I kind of figured that out, the last couple plates, I think is when I started getting some hit. I was like, okay, we got the nervous first one. We'll just throw that one away. I'm not too worried about it. So we go over to the next stage. It's a Connex building that they've got some holes cut out of the bottom and a couple little places to shoot out. And we've got some IPSC targets at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1,000. The trick on this one is you don't just shoot them in order. So you've got to do 600, then jump to the 700, or 600, jump to the 800, come back to the 700, out to the 900, then to the 1,000, then engage the 1,000 again, come back to the 900, down to the 700, back up to the 800, and then back down to the 600. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So remembering the order is crucial. If you shoot in the wrong order, those hits don't count, even if you got hits, but they were in the wrong order. So remembering all that, it's a lot going on, and at this point the storms were getting really close. So there's a big storm line that was rolling in, and we're kind of right at the edge of it, so we were hoping it was going to miss us, but it started sprinkling a little. Then I get up for my turn, and I got down there, and I had my bipod was too high, so I had to drop it down, and I was still too high, like I could get my muzzle out, but my scope would be looking at the wall, so I had to spread the legs out more, drop down even lower. And then I was trying to get into position, and I bumped it forward too far and knocked the tripod legs out of the Connex and onto the ground. So I had to pick that back up, I flustered around and had trouble getting set up, but once I got down and got taking shots at these IPSC targets, I started getting a couple hits, so ended up with 4 out of the 10 on that one, so not my best, but I think I was hitting low again, but I couldn't really confidently tell, and I was just too many other things just going on. I really struggled, but got through that one, and then okay, we'll just wing it. So then we go over to one called the pipe rails. There's a 600 2 targets, 800 2 targets. You're going big, small, pretty easy. You got a fence gate, get up on the top one, and you go big, small, big, small. So 1 2 3 4, move to the next position, 1 2 3 4, move to the next position, 1 2 3 4. So this is one of the 12 round stages. So I'm like, all right, get up there and go for it. Start at the 600. I think I don't even remember which ones I got one hit that counted, and I ended up being off to the left. This one I do remember. I had dialed in windage, and I was like, all right, I've got it dialed in. And then when I saw what was happening, I tried to correct it on the scope, and instead of dialing more to the right to just over to the left, I rolled it forward. So I dialed what I was thinking moving to the right, I just dialed it further to the left. So that was a total error on my spot, and I didn't notice it until after the stage when I was getting my stuff moved out of the way. And that one was totally me. I kept trying to move and aim further off to the side of the targets, but I just that's one that I just made silly me errors on and could not recover it. So it's been sprinkling now for a little bit, and then we kind of all got together. I scored one on that one. Then we moved to the next stage. We got a big rock pile. It was supposed to have the mover with it, but we just had a test your limits at 530 yards, and then an IPSC out at 575. So this one, it started raining pretty good. Like, my turn to come up, and it was coming down hard. I had my feet were just slipping around in the mud. It was just frustrating. I scored only one hit on that one, and I forgot to dial in a 10th on my scope, and I thought I was good because the wind was pretty straight forward and back, but I think I was off on the elevation again. So I wasn't sure though. In my head, my speeds have been faster than I was expecting, so I keep thinking that I'm going over the top of the targets, and so I keep trying to adjust lower. We'll find out that's been my error the whole time. So next we move over to the Humvee. That's got a line of diamonds going out at 306, 405, 505, 606, 705. You just shoot one at each from the hood, and then you move to the back of the Humvee, and one on each going back out again. So that one I only got 6 shots off. At this stage, we're about halfway through the course on it, and the match director came through, told everybody to stop after the next shooter. There was a big lightning, like, I mean, probably within 2 miles of us. Like, it was close, bright, and huge. So we called the pause on it while everything was raining, and we just sat there, let everything rain for about an hour and a half. What I didn't realize is after the last stage in the rain, I did not stop my scope cam from recording, so it had been recording the whole time while I've got it covered over, and I ran it out of battery doing that. So oops. I tried to get some footage of this one, and I can kind of see the targets. I might put it up just so you can see, but it died on me right after I got started, so I didn't get much of this one, and I shot terrible anyways. I only got one hit on that one. I was pretty sure I was low and left. Somebody had told me after, so I was like, well, that's not what I was expecting. So I tried to remember that when we go to the next stage. It's a telephone poles setup, and you've got a 562 yard test your limits rack, and then a confirmation target over in the trees at 609. That was very hard to see, but it's a nice little diamond. So you get on a pole, take one at the biggest rack, go hit the confirmation, move to another pole, go to the next smaller target, boom, and then the confirmation, move to another pole, the next smaller target, confirmation. So you've got 5 positions and 5 targets getting gradually smaller, plus the confirmation target. That one I only scored 1 on again. Seems to be my consistent score. We go to one called the Rooftop Panorama. This one was actually kind of cool. You got to get up on a rooftop, and there's 3 targets, 660, 610, and 638. You got to do 2 on each of those, and they're kind of all in this angle here, and then you shift over pretty considerably, and you got a 835, 815, and 900, and 2 on each of those. So 6 targets, 2 each. This is the other 12 round stage. The targets were kind of hard to see unless you were up on the rooftop. Like, they were hidden pretty well, so you didn't really get a good look at how it all laid out until you were up there running the stage. That one, I have to go look. I didn't write my score down. I think I scored 2, maybe 3 on this one. Could not figure out what I was doing wrong. And then finally, after this stage, when we moved over to the next one, we started picking up the pace because it was like about 2 o'clock in the afternoon at this point. We started a little after 8. It was a mod prone, so there's a bench, and you get your rifle set up in a nice stable position, but you don't have anywhere to sit. You've got to like squat, lean down, and modified prone. So this one, there's big and small targets at a 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. Pretty basic. You shoot. If you hit the big target, then you go to the small target and then go to the next distance. If you miss the big target, re-engage until you get a hit. Somebody finally said, hey, I noticed that your 600 yard targets, you're really hitting low and left. Like, he's like, you're stacking, your bullets are just falling right on top of each other. He's like, I'm watching your trace, and they're just boom, boom, falling right there. Like, you're making good groups, but you're just low and a little bit left. And then when you got to the 800, you were closer. So I think your data is a little bit off, and whatever your Kestrel's telling you, you need to come up 2 or 3 tenths and see how that does. So the next stage, I just aim kind of at the top section of the targets at 600 and 700, and I go 1, 2, 700, 1, 2, 800. I think I only got 1 on that one, and then go to 900, 1, 2, 1000, boom, boom. I got both of them. So I actually had the best score in our group on that stage. Everybody else I think got 8, and I'm the only one that got 9 out of the 10 on that one. So once I got some good data, and I realized where I for sure was missing, because I cannot see my own trace at all. I have trouble seeing where my dirt, like where my impacts are, and judging where that is in relation to the target when I miss. And I was thinking with the faster speeds, I had to be missing high, so I kept trying to adjust lower and lower. That just was not the answer. I was hitting low. I think what may have happened is my speeds came down closer to what I expected them to be. So my Kestrel's giving me numbers that are a little bit lower than what they need to be. I'm moving a little slower. I needed to be a couple tenths higher. So once I realized that, I'm aiming at the top half of the targets from here on out, and I get a 9 out of 10. So I start redeeming myself. Then we go kind of back to the beginning area, and we've got some hot tamale heads. So there's a truck out in the woods at 547 yards with some head targets on it, and an old car. You go to the trunk and shoot the targets from left to right, 1 shot each, and then move to the hood and shoot them from right to left. Another one of those, if you do them in the wrong order, they don't count for anything. I was on there and got in a rush on a couples, but I managed to get 7 out of the 10 on those, and I just went too fast. I had plenty of time. My battery died on my timer, and I forgot to change it out, so I wasn't doing a good time management job. This one really, all the errors were on me. So, but I got a 7 out of 10, so I'm happy with that. Then we go to the last stage. For us, it was stage number 2 in the matchbook, but it's called is a PRS bear cage, so just like this guy right here. So I get started. We've got 2 circles, one at 400 yards, one here on the left, and then a pretty good move over to the right, couple hundred yards between them, maybe 150, 200 yards between them. So you got to get into position, 1, 2, move positions 1, 2, and go on and on and on. So, you know, down low, up high on the left, high on the right, down low on the right, and then move to another position. So I had the idea I was going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come back over to the first position because I could do that kneeling, a little more stable than standing. So I started off pretty good. I think I got 2, 4, 6, and then when I got down to the third or fourth position, I had another round. I think when I moved down to the 4th position, I go to chamber and nothing's happening. Everything's stuck. I'm like, what in the world? We got this again. So after that last match, I at least knew where I need to look. So I look in there and I've got 2 bullets trying to go into the same chamber. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work. So I dropped the mag, got the bad one out, dropped it in my pocket, and mag back in, close bolt, and boom. I think I missed that one, but then I got the follow-up on the next target. Move over to the position here and took 1 shot. I think I got a hit on that, and then I was trying to get this round out of my pocket and drop it in, and I just ran out of time pretty much. So I only scored 8 out of the possible 10, but 7 out of the 8 shots that I took were hits. So terrible overall, but I picked it up and kind of recovered at the end of the day. So maximum was 104 shots. I took 95 shots throughout the day. So I had about a 40% hit rate, and I scored about 37% of the maximum score. Honestly, terrible. I really wanted to do at least 50-60%, but I just could not get it together the first couple stages, and they just beat me down and embarrassed the crap out of me. So final score, I had a 38, and resulted in 79.167 PRS points. So, because I think the finale counts for 200 or something, so the points are figured a little bit differently, but overall, that's how it went. So the whole day was kind of frustrating, we'll say that. Hey, if you're the kind of person that's going to drive 4 hours to a match and all you get out of it is maybe a little Vortex hat, go ahead and get subscribed, because you want to find out if I'm able to recover from this terrible match and start doing better here in the next couple of weeks. So might have a surprise next week. Got to stay tuned to find out. So get subscribed, hang out with me, let me know any tips you might have, because I still need them. Even though I've been doing this for a little while, I still make mistakes. So by the time it's all over, it's after 4 o'clock, and I'm realizing it's going to be super late when I get home. So they were collecting the scores pretty quick. By the time I got everything loaded up and kind of wiped down, because everything had gotten wet and rained on, it was just a disaster of a day overall. They were pretty close to getting the awards thing started, so I decided, you know, this is the first time I've been to a big event like this that actually has an awards table and all the extra stuff that goes along after the match. So I decided to hang around and see how that all went. I mean, tons of people. There are 120 people there, so at least 100 of them, I would say, stayed to go through that. And you know, I'm way down there. I ended up being 108th overall, so very disappointing, at least for what I was hoping to at least be in the top 100, shooting for being in the top 80, but that just didn't work out this time. So I know I could do it because the way the last 3 stages went, so I just could not get it together the first 7, and they really cost me a lot of points. I waited and waited and waited for my name to come up, and while I was waiting, ended up getting a Vortex hat and a couple stickers tossed in. And then when I got my time to go up, I went and foundation stocks. It's in a bunch of coffee, and pretty much at that point, all that was left on the table was bags of coffee or coupon for 50% off of a tripod. I've already got my Fat Boy, so I decided I didn't really need a second one. So grabbed a bag of coffee, loaded up, and started home. Drove another, I mean, it was midnight. I got home, pulling into my driveway right almost exactly at 12 a.m. So get home and ate a little bit of food finally. I didn't eat dinner Friday night. I hardly ate anything all day through the day. Ate some dinner and got cleaned up and just crashed. So get to bed about 2 o'clock, and then about 6:30 I'm up again and trying to get moving. I'm super sore at this point, but I managed to make it in the shower and got in the truck and headed to the local match on Sunday, and I did make it. They had already run through everybody through the first stage by the time I had got there, so they decided to wait for me, and I pulled up, got unloaded as quick as I could, got a couple wind readings, and ran the chaos stage, first one, so it'd only be in 5 shots, and I got 3 hits, so I'll take that. If I'd have slowed down a little bit, I could have done a little better, but we're going to go over that match next week. I will say I redeemed myself, so you definitely want to stay tuned and see how that goes, because almost pulled off the win, but one stage got me, and I'm really frustrated because I went and ran it again after the match and did it almost perfectly clean. So had a mistake there, but other than that one, I had a pretty good match. Even though I was exhausted, arms are sore, legs are sore, I'm sure my rifle's sore, but we'll go over that next week. We're losing light already here today, and you can probably tell it's got super windy, so we got some cold winter weather is finally about to roll in, at least the fall weather. So it's going to be that time of year where my hands get colder, and it's just not as fun being outside. So trying to get outside as much as possible before it gets miserable to do this. So I will apologize for not having very much footage. It was just one of those days between the moving around a lot, and we weren't able to take our vehicle, so everything had to go into a cart, and I was fighting with that cart, bouncing over the rocks, getting set up, trying to figure out where I was going wrong. Just setting up this camera was not a priority to me, and then I ran the battery down on the trigger cam. I didn't do a good job of documenting this event, so I would hopefully described it well to you guys, but let me know if you got any questions. It's still what I'm going to describe as probably the coolest place to go shooting that's anywhere around this area. It's just an awesome place, but it is very challenging. So, you know, there were some stages that not just me were doing poorly on, but of course the top 10 or 15 guys, they were just kicking it all over the place. So we had a couple guys in our group that were really, really good. I think one of them got in the top 15 or 20 overall for the day. So it was really cool just seeing everything and taking that whole experience in. I've got a better idea of what I need to do for next year. I do intend to keep doing this and trying to take all these things that I've learned by pushing myself more this last year, doing more of the actual PRS matches. And hopefully I'm able to dial in some of those skills and things that I've learned and try to start actually having good scores at these matches instead of just showing up and going through the motions. So I looked at my info. I think since my last cleaning, I'm over 300 rounds now. So I definitely need to do a barrel cleaning. Probably need to get in there and check the chamber, see if I got any of those carbon rings. I'm wondering if that could be like maybe I got a carbon ring building up, and that could be what's caused my speeds to change. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but they were back closer to what I expected them to be at the local match, so they were only 10 feet per second faster that day than the week before when I had checked them. So that seems more reasonable than a 20 feet per second difference. So I got some things to do maintenance wise here, and we'll get that done. But I just wanted to share everything with you guys. I don't intend to hide stuff, even the bad matches and when I make mistakes. So stick around. I can promise you next week's is kind of a redemption story. So I did pull it together and had a much better match, and I did a couple things during that match because I was just so tired. I figured I'm going to do bad. I'm going to try a few new things, and they actually ended up working. So, and worked out well. And so we'll go over all that next week. Definitely make sure you stick around. You got to see how that goes, because after this downer of a match, you got to hear about how it all came back together the next day. Well, I think that's going to do it for this one. I got to get out of here before I get blown away because I'm scrawny and it's windy. I really do appreciate everybody that hangs out with me for these videos. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.